Neil Razor Ruddock. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you very much. A bit bored.
Bit bored.
Sitting on my backside. I'm going to get a bit itchy feet. I'm missing me golf.
Missing your golf. Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
I've always wanted to ask you as well, where did the name Razor come from?
There was a Canadian boxer, a big black man called Donovan Razor Ruddock back in the 80s and 90s. He was. I think he fought Mike Tyson and Bruno and people like that. And I was a young lad at Spurs, so they christened me Razor.
Brilliant. So, I mean, how have you been doing over lockdown? I mean, it's been obviously a weird year. Like, how have you been coping?
Well, I'm a lazy so-and-so, basically. So the first lockdown weren't too bad, but now there's nothing else to watch on telly, and I like my James Patterson book, so I think I'm through my James Patterson book, so there's not a lot left to do now, so I'm getting itchy feet. I'm missing golf.
Yeah. So you've got your book coming out. Well, it's come out. It's out now, isn't it? It came out a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it come out the end of last month.
Yeah. The World According to Razor. Obviously, I'm a Newcastle fan.
Never mind.
I bet someone's got.
Never mind.
But yeah, I believe you've got a funny story about Shearer in your book.
Well, it's not too funny actually. I nearly finished his career before it started. We was on a tour in, I think, Portugal. Yeah, it was in Portugal, end of season tour, and the bar had closed, so the lads come back to my room, and we drank the minibar dry. Then sort of Alan Shearer was a young lad, so we broke into his room, and he was in the bath, half asleep, and we pulled his minibar off the wall and run down the landing with his minibar, but all the glasses were on top of the minibar, had fallen off, and he'd come running out after us, and he trod on the glasses, went run through the glass, all the broken glass, and two of his little toe, the little toe and one next to it severed, and they were just hanging on by skin. So we had to rush him to the hospital to have his toes sewn back on. So, yeah, I nearly ended it before it began.
Well, I'm glad he made it through it, because us Newcastle fans don't have much to shout about.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, if that was his left foot. If I haven't ruined his left foot, he'd have scored, because he couldn't kick with his left foot after that. So it makes that good he'd been if he could kick with his left foot.
Yeah. Well, what we're talking about, I mean, Shearer was renowned for heading a ball, I suppose. And what do you make of obviously the news recently with all the head injuries, and they're trying to sort of review about heading the ball and perhaps with kids? And
I think I should definitely. I think Alan Shearer done that program about it. I really think that they should look into it. I mean, it's not only playing; it's every day. Especially as a defender, I was hitting at 40, 50 balls every day. Every 3 or 4 games, you clash heads. You just told to, if you feel a bit dizzy or whatever, you just told to man up and get on with it. So I really think that have they got the science and technology? I don't know if they can, if they can test people young, and if it's going to develop. I don't know. It's out of my hands. I'm sure it's out of many people, even medics' hands. They just don't know if it's going to develop into some of the stuff we've seen lately.
Yeah, I mean, the rule on head injuries has changed a bit, because I remember Shearer in particular, seeing some of his games, he'd cut his head, he'd bang his head with blood rushing down. You had to quickly get him back on, get there. But now they completely stopped the game, didn't they, with head injuries?
Yeah, well, I mean, years ago I got cuts everywhere. I remember I got 11. I had 10 once. I made the doctor do 11 to be. But what they do, they'd rush you off. They'd sew you up quick. Then you put a band, then you go and play. Then after the game, they take them stitches out and do them properly.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
That was a case of getting you off and off. I mean, they've got glue now. They even glue them. They used to glue them. Just glue your cut together, band it up, and get on with it, and you're still heading on.
Yeah.
On the same spot. So it couldn't have been very good for you.
Yeah. Would you think maybe like in grassroots football and with kids and stuff, it's maybe taking heading out for kids, because their brains aren't.
I think so to a certain age. Yeah, to a certain age. I think football heading's a lot to do with the game, but from a certain age, say up to 12, 13s, maybe then that teaches them skill. They keep the ball on the floor. It's like 5-a-side football, Yeah. 5-a-side football rules, and ball's not allowed over your head. So that teaches you to teach you to be a better player, teach you to have a nicer touch and see the pass. So in that respect, I don't think it would hurt the sort of that generation coming through. But definitely, I think after sort of 12, 14, maybe heading should be allowed in the game, because that is part of the game. Defending, crosses, free kicks, and some players are better than heading than other players, so that's sort of restricting their skill as well, their chance of making it. So up to a certain age.
Yeah, well, you weren't too bad at heading the ball, were you? You were all right.
I weren't too bad. And that was my defending crosses and free kicks. That was the bigger you are, the taller you are, the better the header you're meant to be. So
yeah, brilliant. So yeah, obviously you were involved in the program Harry's Heroes, and it was I really enjoyed watching that. And I guess there were some really emotional moments in the show for you as well, especially that that really hit the moment that I think that hit hard for me most was that moment you had with Paul Merson when that was a really nice moment, I suppose, in some ways, because although you weren't happy at the time with what Merson was saying, but it was because you are so close to him. I guess it probably hurt.
I think that's the problem. When your close friends try to give you advice, you take it as criticism. Because it hurts more than if anyone else says it to you. You don't really bother. When someone you love and you've known for years and years give you advice, it's criticism. Stop having a go at me, blah blah blah. I think at the time, because he hadn't drunk for 2 months, he thought he was the saviour sort of thing. So I think that's what hurt me more than most, because he'd given up drinking, I didn't. That he could do it and I couldn't. I think that hurt most than what he said. But no, we got over it. We about 2 minutes later, we was cuddling each other and so. But he did it at home, and I did have a heart problem. Ended up having a pacemaker fitted. But I've calmed down. I think lockdown helped me a lot, because I think as a lad, I'm a lad's lad. You get yourself into a routine, and Friday afternoon you meet the lads, and Sunday afternoon you meet the lads. You watch football and go down the pub. So I think I got myself into a routine that everyone else was doing it. I thought it was okay. Yeah. But I didn't know the trouble it was doing and the pain inside it was causing. So it was lucky that I did have a checkup and they found out I had an irregular heartbeat. It was lucky that I did Harry's Heroes to find out, because I don't think I didn't feel any different, So it's lucky I had a full medical to find out there was a problem. Yeah.
So was it through sort of Harry's Heroes or just after that? Because I suppose when you have those moments, you kind of have to face up to it, don't you? You have to have that acknowledgement that you've got to sort of evaluate your relationship with alcohol. Yeah. Was it during? Was it that? What was the kind of? Was it the moment that you kind of?
It was. We had to do the show. We all had to check up to do the show to make, because we like 50-year-old men going to run around and play football. So we all went into a service, sort of like an oil change for your car, and I was the only one that they found that had a problem. So without filming Harry's Heroes, we never know if I'd have found a problem. I could have killed over at any minute. So it was really important. It was like sort of the timing was unbelievable for me.
Yeah. Yeah, because with alcohol, it's important, I think, to have that sort of acknowledgement. I've had problems with it as well, but I guess mine was through my mental health. So, like for me, I would use alcohol to kind of, if I was ever having a bit of a rubbish period, I'd be like,
well, you do, if you're sad, we've all been. If you're sad, you have a drink. If you're happy to celebrate, you have a drink. If you're bored, you have a drink. So I mean. It's the routines we get ourselves into. I'm sure that was your routine. If you had the you'd have a drink. So it's just routines more than. For me, anyway. I mean, everyone's different, but it was me getting out of the routine I was stuck in.
Yeah, that's absolutely, I think, the case sometimes. Because I think with me, I don't know if you've had to deal with depression as well.
Yeah.
But for me, it was always like I knew that I could, with alcohol, I could kind of have it would kind of give me a short-term buzz to kind of be with the lads and go out and be sociable. Yeah. But then the come down you have, it's not a hangover. It's just this deep despair that you kind of have for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That it's worse than a hangover. It's just it makes you feel rubbish and sort of long for another drink to pick you back up again.
Yeah, and you can't be asked to do anything else.
No, that's it. No, completely. Relate to that. What I wanted to ask you as well, because obviously were you in the first series of The Jungle, I'm a Celebrity, or was it?
Second.
Second. That was the Jordan one. The Jordan.
Peter Andre and Jordan. Yeah,
that's the one. Yeah. Are you a fan of this show? Do you watch it or?
I do. It's different once you're in there. I mean, it's very boring. People say, but they only show sort of 30 minutes footage from 24 hours. So a lot of the time you just sat on your backside doing nothing. It's like being in lockdown, really, with rats and snakes and spiders. because yeah, a lot of it's in your backside. But I mean, it's a great show. I'm so happy I'd done it. You know, I went to. Well, I'm lucky enough. I went to Australia. It was still in Australia now. I think these people they're in a castle in Wales or something.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh, you've got to be devastated. The only time you get picked, you're staying before you go in. You're in the Versace 7-star hotel, and when you come out, you're in the 7-star hotel.
Yeah.
So I don't think they've got one of them in Wales. So they missed out. But it is a great TV show to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Would you do it? Would you ever do it again, or you've kind of had the experience? Or
No, the money is magnificent. I'll do it tomorrow.
Well, I'm sure someone will give you a call if they know you do it. So with the book, the world according to Razor, my closest shaves. Did you just have the urge to kind of write it, or how did it all come about?
Yeah, it was COVID coming, and I knew that everyone would be writing books now. A lot of Christmas is coming up. A lot of people are in lockdown, so I knew there'd be a lot of autobiographies coming out. So I didn't want to be one of them autobiographies that just got lost. So I just think of the funny times I've had in my playing career in life, and dangerous situations, and it's sort of them situations that. We don't. Some people we all believe in God, but some people we don't pray a lot. But these are the stories, that when I've done something, I'd say, God, please get me out of this. I promise I won't do it
I've
again.
been there.
Them situations. I'm sure you've done it yourself.
Yes, plenty. God,
so
if you're real,
stories,
help me out.
These stories where I've looked up into the heavens and saying, God, if you get me out of this, I promise you I won't do it again. So, funny stories. I went on the lash with Nelson Mandela for 2 days. In South Africa. Great.
I need to hear this.
I got Robbie Williams a sack from Take That. Things like that. I mean, it just don't happen to anybody. It just happens to me all the time. So it's. I wouldn't buy it for your under 16s. I wouldn't recommend your readers of all your books.
Well, yeah.
I wouldn't recommend them to read it, but for mums and dads.
A good present to get your mum and dad for Christmas for sure.
That's what it is.
Yeah. So are you able to share one of your funny stories from the book?
Pardon?
Can you share one of your funny stories from the book?
Yeah, it was like the Nelson Mandela story. We went to we was playing for Liverpool 96, 97. We flew to South Africa, and we went to Johannesburg first. We played the Kaiser Chiefs in Joburg. So just before the game, the door opened and Nelson Mandela walked in. No one knew. I mean, the times of that, no one knew where he was. He used to turn up. There wasn't an engagement. He turned up, walked in the dressing room. We were going, oh, Mr. Mandela. He said, no, call me Nels. So Nels, well, now Nels is our friend. So he said, I'll see you after the game in the bar. So we played the game, drew 0-0. I think went to the bar. Nels was at the bar.
Yeah, what his friends call him.
Nels was there, and he just handing out drinks to us. So we had a good 3 or 4 hours on the lash with Nelson in there. And we said our goodbyes. And 2 days later, we flew to Cape Town and played Cape Town Spurs. Just before kick-off, Nels walked in again. And he said, I enjoyed myself so much last week. He said, I've come to see you again. I'll see you in the bar. So we played the game, went to the bar, and Nels was there again, handing out the drinks. We had another 3 or 4 hours on the lash with Nelson. And I told my mum, I said, Mum, I've been on the drink with Nelson Mandela. So what you talking about? I don't know. We didn't really talk about nothing. It was just like when you go down the pub with your mates and you're all stood at the bar and you go home, the wife says, what you talk about? I don't know. It's just rubbish. We talked about rubbish. So I had a world leader there twice and spoke absolute rubbish with him, which is great.
Well, yeah, that is that. Not many people can call Nelson Mandela by that nickname, I'm sure. Oh,
Nels,
as he's known to his closest friends.
Nels, as he's known.
So yeah, going back to football, I guess how have you kind of been feeling watching it? Because I've not really enjoyed it about the fans, to be honest.
Do you know what, mate? I keep turning it off. I can't watch it. It's like a testimonial match, or I think the build up so slow now. You ain't got the crowd behind you. Even if someone makes a great tackle, the crowd it electrifies the crowd. And that gets the players going. It must be terrible playing. I was very much. I was like pre-season friendlies and little practice matches at training. I was terrible. I was never the player I was when there was crowds there. It used to get me going, the crowds, and used to get the nervous energy going. I'm sure they're playing without any nervous energy, and I don't think that's good. So, me for one, I needed a big crowd there, you know, to be at my best, to get me going and spur, you know, sort of get everyone going. Because I was always a loud mouth on the pitch. I was always the one that was shouting instructions. So, you know, I think, as you say, as a fan, you know, that was as a player. I did enjoy games behind closed doors, and you know, now as a fan, I'm not enjoying. I'm turning them over. I'm just thinking, you know, it's just rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, how do you think as a player you would have dealt with VAR? Would it have wound you up?
Oh, no, I've had a few. Well, I'd have lost the plot a few times. I think the only thing we need is goal line technology. I think, and that didn't work last year. I think Bournemouth scored at Villa, and it broke them down.
Yeah, that was it.
And that goal would have saved them from relegation. Yeah. So when they needed it, that broke it down. But I think football was all right as it was. You know, I think the linesmen were getting 99% calls right. You know.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't even score now. How far do they go back? That's the wind up. You score a goal. How far do they go back?
Yeah.
And penalties, they always do it in slow motion. There's always going to be contact in slow motion. Handballs, that's a fast. If the referee doesn't see it, it's not a penalty as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair enough. You know, clear and obvious stuff you can sort of understand a little bit. But when you see a goal that's happened and no one's sort of appealing it, it's just everyone's kind of getting on with it, and then it goes VAR reviewing, and then the opposite, the team that've had a goal scored against them going, hang about, you know, we might get away with this here. I think it's.
I think the future is going to cause riots. I think there's going to be a match. It could be Celtic Rangers, it could be Newcastle Sunderland, it could be a massive game. Last minute, the team score, they're all celebrating, then it's not a goal. Then the other team, they're going to start celebrating. I just think it's going to cause mayhem.
Yeah.
Do you know I'd chuck Newcastle in there for you?
Yes, thank you very much.
No,
speaking about Newcastle, I have to ask you this because my favourite manager, obviously Keegan was a great manager, but my favourite manager was Bobby Robson. I wonder if you had any stories about Sir Bob.
Well, he was my manager when I was in England under. He was He was the first team manager, and he took us to Rio de Janeiro.
Oh
twice.
Yes.
I don't know if he took them. I think it was in England youth. Then I went to England under 21s. I can't remember the age groups. But we went 2 years running with Sir Bobby, and I don't think he wanted to take. I just think because we was going to Rio that he come along. You know, we had a youth coach, but the England manager Bobby went, I'll take the kids, see, you know, the development. And we were talking about no getting sent off and discipline about the English players. And 2 years running, I got sent off out there. So I didn't go down too well with Sir Bobby.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of your teammates, who would be the sort of best player that you played with? You would say,
as a young, Glenn Hoddle was the greatest footballer I've seen when I was a young lad. It's I was maybe debut at Spurs, but Glenn Hoddle was magnificent. Glenn Hoddle was doing what David Beckham was doing 20 years before Beckham, when people could hurt him. You know, but as in strikers, Robbie Fowler's the greatest striker I've seen. I think Shearer's one of the best sort of. Target men sort of thing, and making runs and making angles and making space for other people to come into the game. Letizia, John Barnes, Jan Mulvey. I mean, Ray Clements, who sadly passed away not so long ago. He's the best goalkeeper I played with. I played with Rio, Frank Lampard, Di Canio, Carrick, Defoe.
Not a bad list.
I mean, Stuart Pearce. Glenn Osvaldo Ardiles.
Was there ever a player that was ever a player for you that was just a nightmare to mark? Like, it's even so much that you'd be like, would there be one that, you know, when you're in the tunnel thinking, I don't fancy, don't want to be marking this guy?
Every 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. No, I think the best 3 I played over my time was, I played against people like Ronaldinho and Jean-Pierre Papin, a bit before you, and Skilaccis, Van Basten. But I think over a period of time, the best I played was Eric Cantona, Dennis Bergkamp, and Zola. I think them 3, you know, over a sort of 10-year period, were the best players I played against.
Yeah, that's great. And I was going to ask you as well is, you know, I don't think you would have. Does it wind you up as well, like VAR, when you see players that kind of make a meal out of? Yeah. I can imagine you just be like, okay, you know.
If someone kicked me, I wouldn't want them to get sent off because I'd want to kick them back.
Yeah. Well, there was always that battle between you and Roy Keane, weren't there? You used to enjoy giving each other a bit of a kick.
Yeah, I've got a great picture of I'm punching Roy Keane off the ball here somewhere. Sorry, that's with David Beckham.
Oh, David Beckham.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know if you can see the Roy Keane one there.
Oh yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
That's me punching Roy Keane. No, I think in my day it was don't let anyone see you hurt. You used to kick lumps out of each other, then go and have a pint after and have a laugh with the opposition. That was football as I knew it. I think players trying to get sent off is it's a sign of weakness, and it's horrible, really. It's spite, isn't it? It's spite.
Especially they've not been touched at all and they're rolling on the floor.
That's what I mean. If a player rolls over, if a player gets kicked and he rolls over, he's not hurt, because if you move, it hurts more.
Yeah.
You know a player's hurt. If a player lies still, they're hurt. If they roll over, they're not hurt, it hurts more. Simple.
Yeah.
And by the way, the best away ground I used to love playing was St James's Park, Newcastle. Was my favourite away ground.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I loved it.
Magnificent atmosphere.
Yeah,
magnificent atmosphere. Lovely people, the Chorleys. Magnificent atmosphere. I used to love playing there.
Yeah. Any chance you're going to come and get coaching Baz and come manage us? How about Steve Bruce?
It's a bit cold up there. It's a bit cold up there.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't be there all the time. Yeah. So, yeah, what else was I going to ask you? In terms of like this lockdown, have you kind of been? Has it been good in terms of not being able to sort of go back to alcohol and drink? Because boredom as well. I suppose lockdown is cheaper than rehab and all that. Yeah. But like, is there because you've got so much time on your hands at home, and at home you can get on nutting a bit, being stuck at home. Does it not get a bit hard and tempting to be like,
Well, I've got my own den. I've got my own den here with my own TV and that. I've got a younger wife, a beautiful wife. I've got 2 young kids. So I've got a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old. So they keep me active as well. So no, I've found it all right. I've got my big telly. I've got my Netflix and my Amazon, and I've got all my books and that. So. As I say, I'm getting old now. I'm in my 50s now, so it's maybe when I was
you're in your
like you, when I was young like you, then maybe I'd have found it a bit boring. But when you get over 50, it's nice to sit down and get your feet up.
Yeah, no, that's nice.
I've got a lot of miles in these legs. They've done a lot of miles over the years. So
they have. They have. Well, they're not trying to end Alan Shearer's career.
Yeah.
So. With your book, did you have another book beforehand as well? Like
I'd done one when I was still playing, so that weren't the best. I was still playing, and I couldn't slaughter referees, and I couldn't slaughter any teammates or ex-teammates because I still bump into them. So I've done that. As I say, this book I just wanted something to be different. I wanted it to be a funny read. Sometimes sad stories, funny stories, shocking stories, but. It's one of them books, holiday book, or even over Christmas, I've had a lot of feedback where people just read it and want to keep reading it. And then, so I know he is hilarious. I sat in James Hogg, who actually wrote it. I sat in with him for like 3 days. We sat together and stories kept, reminding me of stories. And so he went away to France. I think 3 weeks he was out there, and he wrote, I wanted it word for word. I didn't want him to go away and do the story in his way,
Yeah, well, he speak voice,
it was written down word for word as I spoke. So there's a lot of swear words in there. So, but that's the way I wanted it done, and he come through, and it is funny.
That's great. And how are you doing in a minute? Because obviously you had the surgery, the pacemaker.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. Yeah, as I say, beforehand I didn't feel any different. I feel the same now, but everything inside's working, so that's peace of mind.
That's good. Good doctor that worked on you then.
He was a German doctor as well, and he had a sense of humour. It was amazing. When I had the pacemaker fitted, he went, "This is the first time I've ever done this." He said, "But I've seen it on Google. We'll be all right." But even a German with a sense of humour was funny.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I'm sure he didn't do. How many surgeries had he done?
Yeah, no, he done. He has done it thousands and thousands.
Thousands, yeah. You don't want a surgeon that goes.
And you're still awake when they put a pacemaker in. You're still awake, which is amazing.
Oh wow!
They just inject you around the area, and you're awake. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. So, who do you think is going to win the league this season?
Well, I think it's going to be closer. It is. I want to say Liverpool, but I think with the injuries they've got, I think they will struggle. The only thing is Man City are losing points. I think everyone's beating everyone. I think Man City is just nick it. But I think Tottenham will be third. I think it'll be Liverpool, Man City. It'll be Spurs. Spurs will be third. I think Spurs are playing well, and everybody seems to be gelling. Mourinho's got his way of playing. I think everyone's doing what he wants them to do now. So I think they won't be far behind, but it'll be a lot closer. But it wouldn't surprise me if City nick it because of Liverpool's injuries.
Yeah, well, I know I've got a sneaky feeling Tottenham might do. I think with Mourinho there now, he's starting to get them sort of, playing his way a little bit. And Bale, great.
What do you think about Newcastle? They'll be all right.
They'll be all right. I feel a bit sorry for Steve Bruce because he's getting a lot of stick from our fans. But I think a lot.
He's doing all right.
He's doing all right. He's doing the job.
All right,
Yeah,
I think a lot of fans they don't have long memories, do they?
No, that's the thing.
The way it was, the way the plan. This is playing a bit of style of football, and he's trying to win in the right way. They're trying to play the way Newcastle fans want them to play. If they come on start, they get booed. But at least they're having a go.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, Rafa Benitez obviously was a great manager, and the Geordies up there loved him. But it was a bit negative. If Benitez could get away with playing that way because he was Benitez, if Allardyce would have played that way, he would have got slaughtered.
Yeah, but I think that Steve Bruce got a few bob as well. They give him a few bob, haven't they? I think if they'd have given that to Rafa, I'll bet that was on Rafa's wages. So that's why.
That's the thing.
He was getting all the money himself.
Well, exactly. That's it. Yeah. So is there any chance you'd ever go into management, or is you?
No, I tried, mate. I done my badges. I tried years ago at Swindon, and I was assistant manager. But you got to be first in, first out. You're out every night watching. Trying to find a non-league sensation that you get for nothing and sell for millions. So I just needed Shearer to become a manager, and I got you need one of your best mates to get a manager's job. You can be his number two, but he failed at Newcastle, so that was the end of my managerial career with Shearer.
Yeah, well, yeah, a lot of my mates told me about that, but I always try and defend Shearer. I was like, he had like half a dozen games. Come on, yeah.
He's not as boring as you think. He's all right.
Yeah, he gets a lot of stick about that. Actually, they always say boring.
Yeah, he plays in it though. That's his sense of humour. He does play on the boring bit. Yeah, he does play on it.
Yeah, and who's like your sort of best mate in the football game? Do you?
Well, Shearer was. Yeah, we're godfather to each other's kids. So, I mean, we was at Southampton together. He couldn't even drive. I used to have to pick him up every day and then drop him off. So, now we're very, very close, me and Alan.
Oh, that's great. And do you have any experiences with Gaza? You've got to ask for the Geordies.
Gaza, there's a couple of stories in the book. I didn't play with him. He signed for Lazio the day I signed for Spurs. So, we sort of missed each other there. But I've had a few nights out with him. Yeah,
I was going to say, I imagine a night out with Gaz is a story to tell.
It's very good. Yeah, that's very good.
But
that takes you a few days. That takes you a few days to recover. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, Neil, it's been amazing talking to you today.
And good luck. Good luck with all your. But good luck with your health as well. Look after yourself.
Well, yeah. It's great to see you in a good place now. And
I hope you are, mate.
Yeah, I'm getting there. It's a difficult year for everyone, but we just got to take each day at a time, haven't we, I suppose?
Just smile. Listen, just look back. All I do, if I got the arm, just think back at funny stories, just smile at yourself. That's what you got to do.
And if anyone's listening that's got a problem with alcohol or struggling, I mean, what advice would you give?
Just check yourself out, you ain't got to make everyone else. Make yourself happy, you know what I mean? You get the other people having a go at you, just take criticism as advice. Have a look at yourself. You know what I mean? And you've got to make yourself happy. If you're in a bad place, try and make yourself happy. Try and make yourself smile. Only you can beat the demons. It's only you that can make yourself happy. It's no one else. So check yourself every morning. Have a look at yourself and make the right decision. I mean, you get everyone's trying to give you all of this advice, but it's only you that can take the advice you want to hear and smile at yourself and look back at good times, not bad times.
Brilliant. Well, the best is yet to come, I believe, from you, Neil. I think we're going to have some more exciting things to see on TV. I'm a Celebrity. He's going to go back in. You heard it here first, right?
Yeah, that's it. The money's right.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining me today, Neil, and good luck with the
book. Mate.
Cheers.
Good luck. Good luck with yourself, brother. Come on.
Okay.
All right, boss.